Over the past 40 years, many of the greatest players in the history of this football club have been honoured by the Association of Former Manchester United Players. Last week, it was a turn of Willie Morgan.
Ladies and gentlemen, the legend that is Willie Morgan. Please be upstanding. Thank you.
Hi there. Today I want to pay tribute to the AFMUP. The Association of Former Manchester United Players has played an important role at this football club since 1985. The AFMUP has been a lifeline for many of our low-paid heroes of the past, providing both financial and social support for old boys from a bygone era. An era when players never earned anything like the riches enjoyed by players who benefited from the enormous success of the Premier League. When Jim Ratcliffe cancelled the AFMUP's £40,000 a year sponsorship last Christmas, it could have spelt the end of a much-loved charity that embodies the true spirit of this football club. That crucial sponsorship was the cash flow that enabled the AFMUP to exist. We were told the club faced bankruptcy if we didn't make painful cutbacks. Since then, United has spent £200 million on new players and recorded record revenues of more than £666 million in the financial year to June 2025. OK, the club still reported a loss of £33 million, but a quarterly sponsorship of just £10,000 to the old boys was a miserly cutback by Ratcliffe. Thankfully, that cutback wasn't the end of the Former Players Association, even though their long-term existence is still in the balance. Back in April, we saw the AFMUP given a reprieve when many influential figures rallied together to support the first event in the 40th anniversary year. Guest of honour Andrew Cole, along with Gary Neville, Johnny Evans and Sir Alex Ferguson, were the biggest names who helped the Old Boys charity raise enough funds to carry on, for the short term at least. Last Thursday, a smaller group of fans and former players were back at Old Trafford to support the AFMUP. Willie Morgan was a guest of honour, and you can see the full interview with our star winger from the 70s exclusively on this channel. A big star in the Alex Ferguson era was Paul Ince, who also made a rare appearance, and Ince proved a popular guest. Other former players included Danny Simpson, a Premier League winner with Leicester City, and 1999 FA Cup winning goalscorer Lee Martin. We also heard from Director of Football Jason Wilcox, who gave us a rare insight into his role at the football club. It's ironic that the millions the club had to pay Dan Ashworth for his short spell in the role, now filled by Jason Wilcox, contributed to the club's current financial difficulties. But great credit to Jason Wilcox for turning up to support the AFMUP. You can also watch his full conversation with Alan Keegan on this channel. As always, a magnificent auction of artwork created by Stuart Beckett enabled the association to raise much needed funds for the charity. The auctions are always well supported, and Stuart's artwork is hugely popular with United fans. We also saw the launch of two impressive books about Manchester United. Dave Bushell has been a legendary figure in United's academy since 1995, in roles including Youth Development Officer, Head of Education and Welfare, and Player Liaison. His book, Dreams Do Come True, was co-written by well-known United historian Roy Cavanagh. Proceeds from the book are going to the Christie Hospital. We'll be hearing from Dave Bushell shortly. The other book promoted on the night was this fabulous history of United. Full details of this publication also coming up. The voice of Old Trafford, Alan Keegan, in conversation with United fan Carl England, the man behind this beautifully produced book. For the fans and former players who attended last week's event and the previous Andy Cole tribute night back in April, it's been a real privilege to witness firsthand how the AFMUP have celebrated their historic milestone. For the past 40 years, the Former Players Association has been a much valued part of Manchester United Football Club. If you'd like to be there for the next big AFMUP event, please get in touch with Jim Elms. You can see his email on screen now. there's sure to be a good turnout for the next AFMUP dinner in April, when we'll return to the Manchester Suite at Old Trafford. And we'll keep you updated when the full details are confirmed. Now, don't forget, you can watch those interviews with Jason Wilcox and Willie Morgan exclusively here on this channel. Both chats with Alan Keegan make fascinating viewing. But first, keep watching to find out all about those books.
Without further ado, will you please put your hands together for Mr. Dave Bushell, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. David, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here this evening. I know that you support the Association of Former Manchester United Players for many, many years, but give us that little bit of background about joining Manchester United and, of course, living the dream and the role that you play at the club.
Well, the dream really was to be a youth development officer because, putting it bluntly, I wasn't very good at football. I wasn't as good as Tony Whelan, you know, Tony Whelan, outstanding left winger. But I never managed to get anywhere. So I fancied getting into the coaching business. So to do that, I had to become a teacher.
Right.
That was the only way to get coaching any kids that they'd let me to coach.
Right.
Luckily, I got my badges and became a coach over in Bolton. I took the town team, the school team. I was then lucky enough to meet Jimmy Armfield, and he looked after me and got me into Bolton Wanderers. So I did a bit of coaching there and did some scouting for the first team. Went down south, did a bit of coaching down there at Brighton and Gillingham and places like that, and then was lucky enough to get the England schoolboys job. I met the real boss, Alex Ferguson, 1991. They were playing Scotland at Wembley. Sorry, we were playing Scotland at Wembley. They were playing Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. And of course, he came into the dinner and told me how Scotland were going to batter us. Anyway, we won 2-1 in front of 50-odd thousand. And he lost 2-1 in front of 21,000, I think it was, pre-Premier League. But he invited me down like he used to do with everybody. You know, some of the coaches and scouts down there. Like he did, he got in and he brought everybody in around him. Come and have a cup of tea, come and join in, do this, do that. And before you know it, you know, you're running around the field with a whistle, you're doing a bit of coaching, not getting paid, by the way, because he's Scot. But you did a bit of coaching. Next minute, he offered me a job as a youth development officer.
So what year are we looking at then?
I finished with England in 91. I then went to the 16s of Man United 92. And then he offered me the job in 94. I started January the 1st, 95. And I've been there ever since. First of all, with my dream job, youth development officer. And then Mr. Wilkinson changed the rules and brought academies in. And because I've been a teacher, the boss just got me and Les Kershaw in the room. Said, Les, you're academy manager. Dave, you're head of education and welfare. So that brought me to those young lads down the left-hand table, down the bottom there, your Frasers and your Aarons and your Michaels and Lees and all those. Some of our players are down there, the young old boys. Yeah, and that got me looking after them. And I've been there ever since.
Give him a round of applause. What a story. We're just doing the maths here. It's over 30 years. What a tremendous record, Dave.
Yeah.
So, I know when we spoke in Malta a couple of years ago, you told me about this idea of dreams do come true. I love the title of your book. And you were talking about the early stages with your good friend, Roy Kavanagh. And I'm holding the book in my hand today. So, tell us a little bit about this and about your dream coming true as well.
Well, people were asking me, why don't you do a story? Well, who's Dave Bushell? Why have a story? I've not got a story, really. But there is a story for everybody in here.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a story. And they kept going on about it. But Tony said, Dave, if you only sell 3 books to your 3 grandchildren, it'll have been worth it. So with that, Roy came on the scene. Obviously, he's written many books, done some fantastic books, hasn't he?
Yeah.
In his own inimitable way of just scribbling little notes on a piece of paper when you're talking to him, and the next minute he sent you a chapter of your book. And so that started about 12 months or so ago. We kept meeting up for a coffee, and next minute, there's the book.
Right, and just to elaborate a little bit on a couple of stories, I think Our very special guest tonight, Mr. Willie Morgan, gets a mention in there, doesn't he?
Oh, yes. Where is he?
He's here on table 3.
Yes.
There he is.
Well, he does remember because his daughter was having a glass of wine with us in Alderley Edge one night about a year ago, and she started talking to me and obviously found out she was Willie's daughter. So I came up with the story that, you know, again, as a fan, initially of Bolton Wanderers, I'm doing all this work for Ian Greaves and George Mulhall, when one Friday I went in thinking, where am I going scouting on the Saturday? He said, Dave, do you fancy coming to Oldham tomorrow and be Spongeman? I said, yeah, I fancy it. About 1976. Well, in those days, Spongeman was Spongeman, wasn't he?
The magic sponge.
Magic sponge then. It wasn't about 7 running on the pitch and taking the whatever they take on now. Doctors and everybody go on now, don't they? But I went on, would you like to be Spongeman? Yeah, Oldham away. Frosty Saturday. Anyway, we get there. I won't mention the story about the studs.
No.
When we did the referee and made sure we got some studs with nails in.
Yeah. It's in the book.
But then it was a bit of a scrappy game. There was a guy called David Shaw. Yeah, he remembers. And David Shaw, I mean, Willie's, what a fabulous technical player he is, isn't he? And I think he niggled David a little bit. Anyway, David turned around and headbutted him. Oh. So he's blood coming down his nose, just in front of the box as well. So this young Spongeman's gone on the field, and no gloves, by the way. No. Just get the sponge, wiping him down, drying him off. And I'm just going to say, put a bit of Vic up your nose, because it'll help to congeal the blood, but you'll be able to breathe. And the ref says, no, you can do it off. Get off you. So he sent Willie off. Oh. But it was rescinded, wasn't it, Willie? Yeah, he was let off later in the week. David Shaw was done, but he was rescinded.
Yeah, and rightly so. Right, listen, the important thing about this book, it's £10, and it's a wonderful gesture by you, Dave, because tell us where the £10 is going.
Well, it's £10. It's on Amazon, and all the proceeds, all the royalties go to the Christie Hospital in Manchester, where I'm sure we've all had... where I'm sure we've all been touched somewhere or other, or we have friends or family who've been touched there, yeah.
Brilliant. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dave Bushell, a legend of Manchester United. Thank you. I'd like to call upon a gentleman by the name of Carl England, who's just going to come up and say a few words, because some of you may have noticed there's a very special book on your table. Tell us about this book.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's not this book in actual fact. That's the reason why the book is in front of you, ladies and gentlemen, because the book I've got in my hand is actually the first book I was ever given in 1979 for Christmas by my nanny and granddad, who actually weren't United fans at all, but they knew I was. And so they bought me this book. The foreword is written by Bobby Charlton. And Bobby Charlton says this is the first history of Man United written in 25 years. He also goes on to say that it's written by a guy called Derek Hodgson, that was a reporter at the time for The Express. And he actually goes on and says, I actually disagree with a lot of what Derek Hodgson used to say in the reports that he did. But he knew, Bobby Charlton, that football's more than just winning or losing. It's about opinion. It's about history. It's about heritage. It's about the players. It's about the club. And the club isn't just about results. And my nan and granddad bought me this book at 7 years old. In 1979, knowing full well that I was crestfallen, right? I've just watched a cup final where it's ripped the heart out of me. If I ever saw Alan Sunderland now, I'd still kick him in the shins, I know I would. Because the fact of the matter is, in 1979, that was my lads Aguero moment, if you will. That was the moment where there's a whole chapter in this book written by Sir Matt Busby, and the whole chapter, which is actually the biggest chapter in the book, and the book's only 150 pages, by the way. Sir Matt Busby says that infamous phrase, never be scared of defeat. And there's a whole chapter in this book just about that. Never be scared of defeat. And so I wasn't good enough to play football. I wanted to be, but I didn't quite make it. And I was a huge United fan. And it became part of what I wanted to do in life. I remained involved in the game with Umbro, and latterly I created Tech Ball, and a division of Tech Ball is played by Man United now. At Carrington. I wanted to do something which encapsulated what this club is all about. And knowing Harry Harris, we live in the same village in Sunningdale, I met a guy, lucky enough to meet a guy called Paul Trevelyan, who's the incredible Sports Illustrator. And Paul's great work is what you've all got on your tables now in this book. I wanted to tell the story of Man United through pictures and actually put words around those pictures as to what this club is all about and celebrate the great players that have made this club what it is today. For me, the world didn't start in 1992, right? Very often in the stats you see now on Match of the Day and on Sky Sports, it's all about what happened when the Premier League was formed. But I remember the 70s, I remember the 80s, I celebrated the 90s and the 2000s. And I just wanted to encapsulate a true history of United through iconic art, which celebrates all of the great players which have made the club, which is today, and we're all celebrating now. So take a look at it. There's a copy on every single table. The invite I'll make to all of you is argue amongst yourselves who's going to take it, but what we would graciously ask is you all bid amongst yourselves for who's going to take this book home. We've got Paul Ince over there, my mate. I'm happy to sign it as well, and we'll get as many players and as many officials that were at the dinner today to get it signed for you. But it's here, it's for you. It's a celebration of this club. I'm so proud to be here in front of you all. I'm chuffed to bits that Jim Elms has given us the chance to get this book in front of you all as a celebration of Manchester United Football Club, and I'll look forward to talking with you all later on tonight. Thank you. It is available on Amazon as well. Alan's quite right. 35 quid on Amazon available now. I think the first print's actually sold out, but it's available for Christmas. So go online if you're not lucky enough to get hold of it. All right. Cheers, guys.
Thank you very much indeed. Carl England there, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much indeed, Carl. So just to clarify, there is a book on every table. It's £35. If you want to buy the book, all the funds are going to the Former Players Association. So it's a great gesture by Harry and by Carl and everybody involved with the publication of a fantastic book. You can see it on your table.
Thanks for watching. And don't forget, please like, share, and if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel if you want to help me keep creating content. Your support makes all the difference. If you'd like to check out my exclusive merch, please visit my new shop, johngubber.com. Links below. Meantime, if you want to keep watching, here are 2 more videos from this special evening hosted by the AFMUP. Thanks again for watching.